So guys, we hit 400 subscribers, and I just wanted to do a special video to thank you guys for this. Oh wait, we're already a third of the way to 500. Well, thanks for 400 still regardless, but today, we're going to go over my top 10 favorite games of all time. There will probably be some pretty controversial picks here, so stay tuned for that. Also, at the end of this video, I will be showing the list of the top 10 50 games I made just for fun. Now, one thing I do want to make clear is before I start, that this list will only have Nintendo games in it. Why? Well, frankly, that's what I play. I wasn't disallowing myself to add non-Nintendo games to this list. It's just I don't really play many of them for a long time, so none of them landed anywhere near the top 10. But with all that being said, let's jump straight into it. This was an already wonderful game on the Wii U, with what was in my opinion the best port out of any Switch game. I'll start with the original 3D world first. This game is very linear and it's overall a lot like the 2D Mario games, but it's put into a 3D atmosphere. This game also acts like a sequel to Super Mario 3D Land. However, I feel that this game is a significant improvement on that game for a multitude of reasons. You're allowed to choose from one of 4 characters in this game, each with different strengths and weaknesses. Personally, I use Luigi, not only because he's the second best gaming character, but because his high jump helps a lot with making fun trick jumps and cheesing parts of levels. The level design in this game is also pretty great, having some great gimmicks such as the Mario Kart level or the flagpole literally running away from you. But the main reason I prefer this game to Super Mario 3D Land, the Super Bell. This is my favorite power-up in the entire Mario series where you get to do cat dives, but more importantly climb up walls, which is really cool. In the original 3D world, the cat dives would be used to gain insane momentum, but in the Switch port this is no longer a thing. The new speed tech in the Switch version is called vectoring, where you jump in zigzags. If this game wasn't good enough already, we also got a new side game in the Switch port called Bowser's Fury. The side mode is a mostly open world Mario game, where you get to explore an interconnected island searching for cat shines. It's a similar idea to Super Mario Odyssey, but it's more open world here. However, every once in a while, Fury Bowser will come out of his shell, wreaking havoc on Lake Labcat. He won't disappear until you wait multiple minutes or collect a cat shine. The game ends once you're able to fully defeat Fury Bowser using the Giga Bell. Overall, this is an amazing side mode that I enjoy just as much if not more than the main game, and it does an amazing job complementing an already amazing game for me. Overall, this game is definitely deserving of the number 10 spot for me. I mean, how could I not include this game? It's got everything I could ever want in a level editor game. To make Mario levels alone would be good enough for it to land in the top 20 for me, but this game is so much more than just a level editor. On top of the already amazing level editor, which I'll talk about in a bit, this game also has story mode, where we can play levels created by Nintendo, multiplayer versus, where you can race others to the finish line on randomly selected levels, multiplayer co-op, where you and other players try to help each other get to the end of a gold on a hard level, endless challenge, where you try to beat as many levels as possible without running out of lives, Ninja speedruns, where you race down time trial against other people's best times on a Nintendo-made level, and Super Worlds, where you can play an entire game of up to 40 levels a player created. There are truly unlimited possibilities here. For every single one of these modes I've just mentioned, there are players that have poured their heart and soul into it just because they are so fun and addicting. Story mode has some really fun gimmicky levels from Nintendo. Multiplayer Versus is really fun to see how high of a ranking you can get it in. This is the one where I personally poured most of my time into. Multiplayer co-op is fun to play with casual Mario fans you don't play with much. Endless Challenge is fun because of the knowledge that if you die too much on a hard level, you'll lose it all. Ninja speedruns are very fun for competitive Mario speedrunners, and even casual ones such as myself. And Super Worlds, do I even need to explain this one? You essentially get to play through what somebody put hours upon hours into creating, really making it special. But now for the main part of the game, the level editor itself. This is also amazing, allowing you to choose between 5 different game styles: Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, New Super Mario Bros. U, and a heavily modified version of Super Mario 3D World. On top of this, you get to choose between 20 different settings for your level, which also affect the gameplay. The options for level creation here are very great and in-depth, including some options that weren't even in the original games here. Yet they still forgot to add in the ice flower. Please Nintendo, I need this power up in the game. Overall, this is an amazing game with truly endless possibilities, and so much content that you can put thousands of hours into this game without getting bored. This is objectively the best Mario Kart game. It might be my favorite, we'll see if another Mario Kart appears on the list. It has so many more features than any other console Mario Kart game, and it has double the tracks of any other ones. But I'm getting ahead of myself, I'll start from the beginning. The character selection in this game is, well, it's alright. It's not amazing, but I don't hate it. It has all, or well, at least most, of the necessary characters, plus a few newcomers. But what are these newcomers, you might ask? Clones, clones, and more clones. It's annoying, but it isn't the end of the world. But this game really redeems itself with the track selection, having 64 tracks, and still expanding with the Booster Course Pass. Nearly all of these tracks are very well designed also, with not very many of them being tracks I would consider bad. I mean, we have Big Bloom, Mount Wario, and Mushroom Gorge, how can you complain? And we obviously also have the most underrated track in the series, Toad Harbor, but that's a talk for another day. Now the racing is fun in itself, but what really makes this game so replayable is the online. See, most people play Mario Kart casually, therefore the computers are freakishly easy once you get good at the game. However, online allows me and other people to go against other players that will actually give us a challenge. On top of this, we also have time trials, which allows you to race on a track to get as good of a time as possible. And all of this is without even touching on the absolutely amazing battle mode this game has to offer. I don't personally play this much, but some of the modes such as Shine Thief and Renegade Roundup can be some of the most fun Mario Kart experiences with friends one can have. On top of this game is really just the gift that keeps on giving since the Booster Course Pass is still being released. At the end of this, we will have 96 tracks, which is just ridiculous. And even besides the Booster Course Pass, I'd say this is my second favorite Switch part, only under 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, adding the previously mentioned Battle Mode, Ultra Mini Turbos, Dry Bones, and more. Overall, this game is great, with so much replayability and new content still coming to this day, it has to make the list. This game is objectively, possibly the best game I've ever played, and once again we'll see later on the list if it's my favorite Zelda game or not. It has an absolutely huge open world, with close to limitless possibilities. The game starts by introducing you to the physics in the Great Plateau. It introduces you to the 4 main runes of this game that can help you on top of your sword, bow, and shield, which are self-explanatory. You have bombs that do bomb things, magnesis that allows you to move any metal object as you wish, stasis, which allows you to stop anything in time for a short amount of time, and cryonis, which allows you to make a block of ice. Once you collect these 4 runes and get the paraglider, you're basically free to do whatever you want, including collect towers to unlock more of the map, do more shrines, which act as mini dungeons in this game, do the Divine Beast, which I'll talk about in a bit, or you can really just go straight to Ganon if you want to. The shrines can act as one of the following: a puzzle, a reward, or a test of strength. The puzzles are found with the less gimmicky shrines, where you have to solve a puzzle inside of the shrine itself. The rewards usually come from either a long quest just to unlock the shrine, or rewarding your exploration to find the shrine in such an obscure spot. And the last type of shrines, tests of strength, which are intended for you to fight against a mini guardian of varying strengths, usually depending on how far out you ventured to find the shrine. The Divine Beasts are the main larger dungeons of this game, starting with rather long side quests, but afterwards entering a dungeon where you have to collect 5 terminals, followed by a boss fight. These are really fun, and can occasionally actually be pretty hard. And I haven't even seen a good half of what this game has to offer after my 90 hours in this game, given I don't have the DLC, I haven't collected all the Korok seeds, haven't tried Master Mode yet, etc, etc. I've already praised a lot about this game, and I've only scratched the surface when it comes to this game. There's so much more stuff I haven't even gotten into talking about yet, as weapons breaking, blood moons, cooking, and so much more. This truly is an incredible game, and for that, it deserves number 7 on this list. Yo, Editing Gaming here. I just want to say that After getting footage for this game, I'm kind of regretting not putting this game in number 6 or number 5. I low-key kind of want to finish the entire game now. I enjoyed getting the footage so much. But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. You can go to number 6 on the list now. I spent about 5 minutes deciding whether to rank this game or Breath of the Wild higher on the list, but in the end, I settled with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This game truly is the ultimate Smash Bros. Game, taking the best parts from every other Smash game up to this point. The character roster in this game is huge, maxing at a total of 89 characters, which is honestly just ridiculous. On top of this, every single character from previous Smash Bros. Games is here. This already gives us some of the most exciting characters from previous Smash Bros. Games that were removed from the sequels, such as Snake and Ice Climbers. On top of this, the new choices for the characters here are actually incredible. We got Ridley, King K. Rool, Joker, Banjo-Kazooie, Sora, Steve from Minecraft, and let's not disclude the best gaming character and icon of this channel, Incineroar. The gameplay of the fighting here is very similar to Smash 4, but that isn't a bad thing in my opinion, as that was my favorite Smash Bros. Game prior to this one. This game also has online as its main attraction for a lot of people, similar to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but this time it has even more replayability as you get to try to make it up to Elite Smash with every character in the roster. Haha, act like I've done that even though I haven't gotten to Elite Smash with anyone. But this time there's a ton more content, even though what I've already said already provides us with a ton of replayability. We have some of the smaller modes, such as the brand new Squad Strikes or Tournament from Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The latter I had a ton of time in on Brawl, so I love to see it return. But we got the main two big modes, starting with the classic modes. These are the best classic modes we've seen in the entire series, having a completely different route for each and every character. Sure, each route isn't the most unique thing ever, but allows for a lot more hours in this game if you intend to play every character's classic mode. And then we got the big new mode of this game, the World of Light. This mode was very good, and I'd argue is almost as good as Subspace Emissary from Brawl, but not quite still. This basically acts as a story mode where you collect spirits and free characters from their dark forms. It also has quite a bit of time onto your total playtime. Overall, this is a wonderful game. What really puts it into number 6 for me is just how replayable it is, and really the same thing can be said about the whole series as a whole. I mean, Smash 4 is my most played Nintendo game ever back in the Wii U era. Overall, I absolutely love this game. Dry bones for Smash. Well, I guess Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not my favorite Mario Kart game. Standing in its way is Mario Kart Wii. You may or may not have noticed that every single game we've talked about so far on this list is on the Switch. Granted, all 5 of them have Wii U counterparts that could have made the list, and probably at least 3 of them would have been there if the Switch versions didn't exist. But let me have this, okay? But anyways, let's get on to this game, appearing on the Wii. This character selection shows quality over quantity compared to Mario Kart 8's roster, only having 5 clones in total, and I'd only really say one of them is a clone that should have been replaced with a different character. With so many extra character slots left, Mario Kart Wii uses this to its advantage to add some fan favorite characters, such as Diddy Kong, Birdo, and everyone's favorite Funky Kong. And then we get to the tracks of the game, where it gets even better. I thought the tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe were amazing, but these tracks truly are the best track design we've seen in the entire series in my opinion. I mean, literally 8 of the 16 Nitro tracks in this game are tracks I could consider S-tier worthy. Seriously, I mean we got Mushroom Gorge, Toad's Factory, Coconut Mall, DK Summit, Koopa Cape, Maple Treeway, Bowser's Castle, and Rainbow Road. Those are all amazing tracks, and I literally just listed the top half of the Nitro tracks in the game. Of course, we have 16 retro tracks in this game as well, being not quite as good as Mario Kart 8's retros admittedly, but they're still pretty cool in this game for the most part. So this game has a way better track selection than Mario Kart 8, but also way less. All Mario Kart 8 side modes, such as the time trials, and a much worse but still existent battle mode are still here. And once again, there's an online mode in this game to carry replayability. And before you say anything, yes, the online for this game is shut down, but modders have made us that all you need to do to play the game online now is just change the code, so you don't even really have to actually mod your Wii, so I'll count this. I won't get into CGP or anything, however, to keep this list fair. And even though you do have to essentially mod your console to play Mario Kart Wii Online, it still has a very active community because the game is that good. So overall, this game earns to be the number 5 spot on my list in my opinion. This Pokemon game might be a bit of a controversial choice, but I know one of my top 3 picks will probably be more controversial than this, and may or may not also be a Pokemon game. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about Pokemon X and Y for right now. This is easily the most fleshed out of any of the Pokemon games up to this point in my opinion, taking most of the best things from the Pokemon games up to it. The national decks, the absolutely huge cities, etc. This game is based off of France, so we see some new Pokemon based off of that region. The characters get to move around in skates now, which is way cooler than the boring and unoriginal bike. Actually, I still love the bike, just love this a bit more. Given the size of some cities like Lumio City, it really feels necessary. And as for the new Pokemon of this generation, there's the least amount of any new generation yet, but almost all the Pokemon are really cool. With amazing Pokemon like... My cat just jumped on my desk and landed on my keyboard and moved the entire script. I'm editing that in. Where was I? With amazing Pokemon like Greninja, Delphox, Gourgeist, and Yveltal, can you really be complaining? We also got an entirely new typing for the first time since Generation 2 in... ...1999. I definitely knew that. The Fairy type is a very strong type with some of the coolest Pokemon belonging to it, but also some, well, mediocre Pokemon to say the least. But more importantly, we have the main gimmick of this game, Mega Evolution. Basically, only certain Pokemon can Mega Evolve, and to Mega Evolve them, you have to have the Mega Stone that associates with them. But given you meet the requirements, you may Mega Evolve one Pokemon per battle. It basically acts as a 4th stage evolution for a lot of Pokemon, making them stronger. However, they devolve back to their normal selves after each battle, so it becomes a fun strategy of which Pokemon you should Mega Evolve to get the most priority out of. This is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon gimmick we've seen. The one problem I do have with this game is that it's very easy. However, given how much challenge potential there is for Pokemon games, that's not really a huge issue, as you can just make it harder. Maybe use only Fire-type Pokemon, or do a hardcore Nuzlocke. There are also even more amazing parts of this game I didn't even talk about, such as Pokemon Ami, Wonder Trading, which is new to this game, and much, much more. Overall, this is the second best Pokemon game in the series in my opinion, and an overall amazing game. This pick might be a bit surprising to some of you given the game just came out earlier this year, but I'm pretty sure at this point that this game deserves it. This really is a recency bias. Check the pinned comment like 6 months after this video is dropped and see if the pinned comment has a different opinion. Anyways, this is the first 3D Kirby game, feeling a lot like 3D World in a lot of ways. Really, that's the best way I can explain it. Super Mario 3D World and Super Mario Odyssey, but mixed as a Kirby game. Most of the levels are linear in design, but despite what you might think, there are a ton of secrets in every level, giving you Waddle Dees. There are generally around 10 Waddle Dees in each level. These can range from finding a hard-to-find secret, to beating a boss without taking damage, to beating a section of the level in a specific amount of time. And I found it extremely fun to do every one of these Waddle Dees. Even when I didn't find them all on my first attempt, the game tells you one of the achievements you missed every time, so when you come into the level, next time you have a completely different goal, really making the level feel new, even though you literally just played it. The copy abilities in this game are a lot less in quantity than previous Kirby games, but they're also a lot cooler in my opinion. Basically, you get to upgrade the copy abilities over time. Let's look at Fire for example. The original Fire gives us the fire we all know and love from previous Kirby games. But once you get the Volcano Fire, you are now spitting out fire in a volcanic way. Not a huge difference, but still a pretty cool one. And finally, we have Dragon Fire. which is an improved fire breathing from the original fire, as well as an extremely long dash attack, making it one of the funnest abilities in the game. There's a progression similar to this for all 12 copy abilities in the entire game. On top of this, the malflow modes are more gimmicky parts of levels where Kirby turns into something, for example a car. These can make for extremely fun levels such as 3-2, which is designed around a racetrack. Wow, I'm already running out of time for this section, so I'll keep the rest short. The treasure roads are also cool, allowing you to beat a course in as short of a time as possible. And I won't really talk about the post-game content such as Coliseum, but let me tell you, if you didn't play them, you missed out on the full experience for this game. Overall, this game is truly a masterpiece, and for that, it deserves no less than the number 3 spot on this list for me. Alright, don't cancel me yet on Twitter.com, hear me out. This is, in my opinion, the best Pokemon game. First of all, the new Pokemon in this game are absolutely amazing. You have what is, in my opinion, one of the better starter trios. Poplio, which is meh at worst, Rowlet, which is pretty cool, and the best evolutionary line in the entire series, Litten and Incineroar. We have some very creative Pokemon here, since this region is based off Hawaii. We have some amazing new Pokemon such as Toucannon, Vikavolt, Lycanroc, Beware, the list goes on and on. Sure, there are some mediocre Pokemon here, but what generation doesn't? Overall, this is one of the better sets of new Pokemon in my opinion, and that's not even including the Alolan forms. See, this was the first of the Pokemon games to include forms of past Pokemon as different forms from the new region, here called Alolan forms. Some of these Alolan forms, such as Alolan Ninetales and Alolan Marowak, are absolutely amazing designs and even better than their original to my opinion. Now the actual region here is very gimmicky, hence why this game is so controversial among many. This game doesn't have gyms, unlike every other mainline Pokemon game, besides Ultra Arceus, but instead island trials. These are more creative sequences where you have a general goal. For example, in the fire trial, you have to spot the difference between 2 different dances. There are still Pokemon battles in these, however, as there are generally 2 to 3 small battles before the main battle, where you go against a Totem Pokemon. The Totem Pokemon is a fully evolved stat-boosted Pokemon that can SOS call smaller Pokemon into battle. Oh, by the way, SOS calling is a thing in this game, allowing Pokemon to call on more Pokemon for help. Useful for if you are hunting for a specific Pokemon. On top of this game is the first to really consider getting rid of some of the annoying features in previous games, most notably HM, getting replaced by Ride Pokemon, which on top of being very creative are genuinely enjoyable to use. There are so many nice features in this game, and I haven't even touched the story yet, which I'll refrain from talking about since this section is already getting pretty long and to avoid spoilers. And there are still so many other things I didn't get to talk about, such as Z-Moons or the Kahunas, which I fully support the existence of. So, all the new gimmicky features, all of the removed annoyances from previous games, the new Pokemon, all combined with this being my first Pokemon game led to this game being my favorite Pokemon game and second favorite game of all time. But of course, there's only one game that can top it. Of course it's Super Mario Odyssey. It's the only game I ever played that I could play for as long of a session as I want and not get tired of the game. It's that good. Basically in this game, Mario has to travel through kingdoms to prevent Bowser from marrying Peach. You travel through the kingdoms via the Odyssey, which requires a certain amount of moons to progress between every kingdom. There are tons of moons scattered across every kingdom, only needing a handful of them to leave. Now this is where I'd say the common criticism for this game comes in. The moons are too high in quantity, not high enough in quality to keep it short. In theory, I understand your argument and even agree with you, but there's something so satisfying about just collecting moon after moon. We also have the main gimmick of this game, Cappy, which allows you to capture Mario enemies for the first time. This allows for even more amazing moons where you get to play as Pokeos, Uproots, Gushins, and more. The kingdom design allows for masterful movement. But with that, let's talk about this game's quite literally perfect physics engine. You got all the basic 3D Mario moves such as the wall jump, backflip, dive, and more. But this game goes far, far beyond that. Of moves like the roll, it's already prominent enough, but more importantly, Cappy. I already talked about how Cappy can capture enemies to make it so that you can play as them. But Cappy also has the power to make playing as Mario funner than any other Mario game, period. You can bounce off Cappy, which is really just a game changer. This allows for so many cool jumps and speed tech that couldn't even be seriously considered in any other Mario game. This really allows for this game to really feel perfect, as you can play this game in so many different ways. There are story moves that progress you in the game's story, but the vast majority of them are not required. This makes every kingdom really feel like its own experience. There is truly so much to do in this game, as on top of 100%ing the game, there are entire communities dedicated to speedrunning this game across numerous categories and trick jumping, or making crazy jumps nobody ever believed could be possible. I mean, very few other Mario games have gotten this much like from Mario fans, you gotta admit. And that's the reason this game is such a masterpiece. On top of 100%ing this game, there's still so much to do in this game, which, keep in mind, is not an online game. And you can even have an infinite amount of fun in this game that even some online games specifically designed for replayability don't manage to achieve. This game is truly a masterpiece with only a few flaws I can think of, and those are just minor annoyances at the end of the day. I really don't see this game getting beat anytime soon for me, besides maybe a potential Odyssey 2, which, please Nintendo, at this point I'm begging you. But I've talked about this game for long enough. Just if you haven't, play it for yourself. You won't regret it. Well, after a massive journey of, well, to be completely honest, probably a lot of controversy, I got to share with you guys my 10 favorite games of all time. Thank you guys sincerely for 400 subscribers. It may not seem like a lot, but to me it's still a big milestone. I appreciate each and every one of you. Here's to 500 subscribers and beyond. But if you did enjoy this video and haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thanks. But yeah, bye guys.